Let's jump into problem 26A. We're looking at a plan amendment. So typically this is downstream of a union contract. The union has negotiated better pension benefits and it's applied retroactively. And so our actuary comes back and says, well, based on these better pension benefits, your employees have already earned a big chunk of dough and our liability just jumped a big chunk. How do we account for that? Stay tuned. Well, in fact, this big jump represents an increase in our liability. US GAAP says take that increase into OCI. IFRS and Canadian GAAP say it's an immediate charge to the expense. Let's deal with it. So we'll do US GAAP first, and then we'll do IFRS, and last Canadian GAAP. But let's jump into the problem. Castlegar Foundry sponsors a defined benefit pension plan for its unionized workforce. Effective January 1st, 2031, Castlegar amended the plan to increase the benefit formula for all years of prior service. The actuary determined that the amendment increased the obligation by $1.8 million as at January 1st, 2031. The following additional information relates to the plan for the year ended December 31st, 2031. And there is some additional info. So let's the task here is going to be to complete the worksheet and, do the journal entry. Let's go ahead and complete that worksheet. We're going to start with pension obligation opening balance of 1.5 million. Now you can see that's the number before the amendment, and we need that number. So if not 1.5, 15 million. So I'm going to say 15,000 K, and that is, of course, a credit balance. Our plan assets operating at 13.6 or opening at $13.6 million, and that is, of course, a debit. And so we are underfunded, as most pensions tend to be. Not always, but most of the time. We'll have a net pension liability, and we do here, of $1.4 million. You can see the next line down is for the plan amendment, and it got worse for us. Our situation got $1.8 million worse. So our pension obligation grows, gets credited by $1.8 million. US GAAP says we're going to take that charge into OCI based on, I think they call it past service cost or prior service costs. So I'll just say PSC, OCI. There are multiple types of OCI now in questions, lucky us. So we'll have to track those multiple types of OCI. But that is, of course, a debit to OCI. It's a charge against our other comprehensive income. Quick cough and we'll continue. Okay, let's continue up the list. So we've dealt with the pension obligation, we've dealt with the plan assets, and we have balances here. So just after the amendment, so our amended balance is not changed for the asset. Our asset didn't change, but our liability grew to 16.8 million. And you can see, this is bad news for us, the company. We're now 3.2 million underfunded. We started 1.4 million, and we just made the pension more generous, and now we're really behind the 8 ball. Okay, let's read on. Discount rate is 5%. We know what to do with the discount rate. It grows our obligation. So our pension obligation was 16.8 million, and that's as of January 1st. Our obligation grows by that discount rate, 5%, so times 0.05. It's going to grow by 840K. I really shouted the K. I really leaned into it there. 840K, and it grows, right? So it's a credit to our pension obligation, and that interest cost is one component of our pension expense. Continuing down the line, the expected return on assets, this is a US GAAP convention, not relevant for Canadian GAPers, IFRSers, but US GAPers, you take that 13.6 million, your plan assets, and multiply by 0.055 to get 748,000. Your pension expenses reduced by the growth of those assets, or the expected growth of the assets, I should say. So I put it in this row, actual return on assets. And I know that's not our actual return, but this is where this goes. And we'll deal with the actual return in a minute. It also goes in that line. Okay, so we've dealt with that. Current service cost. $1,050,000. Well, no calculations there. My current service cost, 1,050K, and this is a credit, of course, growing my pension obligation. So 10, did I get the number right? 1,050. Yes, I did. The debit is to pension expense, 1,050K, debit. Okay, let's continue. 816 is the actual return on assets. So that's what my assets actually grow by, 816K. Debit the assets by that amount. Now, here's where we get into this concept of unexpected gains versus expected returns, or unexpected returns versus expected returns. We actually made 1,816 grand on our investments. Our plan assets grew by 1,816. We expected to grow by 748. The difference is unexpected. It goes into OCI. So 816 minus 748 means we're off by 68K. Now, is this a debit or a credit to OCI? Well, debits need to equal credits. I got 800 grand of debits, 700 of credits. I need a credit to make this balance. And that's good, right? It means my unexpected amount was a gain. I made more than I thought. Okay. Continuing on, amortization of past service costs, we'll leave that till the end. We'll discuss it at the end. Contributions remitted to trustee, 1.3 million. Well, when we remit contributions, it's out of our pocket. We give up cash, 1.3 million, credit to cash, and the debit is to our plan assets, 1.3 mil. The second to last line here, 950 grand benefits paid to retirees. Well, what do we pay them? We pay them out of our assets. They don't come out of our normal bank account. They come out of the trust's assets. And the pension obligation reduces by 950K. So it's a 950K debit to the obligation, 950K credit to our assets. Last one, amortization of past service costs. So under US GAAP, we put our past service costs into OCI and we amortize our past service costs. Now, there's multiple methods to do this. There's a complex way called the years of service method. If you have to do that, I'm going to leave that to your professor and your textbook. We're going to do the most basic way you can imagine. We're going to amortize this straight line, which is totally acceptable. So we have this $1.8 million OCI amount, and we're going to amortize it over the 12 years of the average remaining service life of our employees. 1.8 million divided by 12 is 150 grand. So we're amortizing our past service cost at 150 grand. And the idea is we had this big plan amendment. We have to bring it into income. We have to show it in pension expense sooner or later. We're going to do it slowly over the 12 years. So it's a $1.8 million charge. We're going to take 150 grand out of OCI and put it into pension expense over 12 years. 150 grand a year. So debit pension expense, 150K. Credit OCI, 150K. And I think that's it. So let's add everything up. I always do the obligation and the assets first. So 13.6 million was our asset, minus a credit of 950,000, plus a debit of 816,000, plus a debit of 1.3 million. And we get 14,766K, and this ends in a debit as we would expect. Let's do our pension obligation, starting with 16.8 million. I'm starting at the subtotal. I could start at the top and deduct out the one, or add in with the 1.8 million, but 16.8, I'm starting at the subtotal. Add 1050, obviously credits add to credits. Add 840, credits add to credits, and deduct 950, take away the debit from the credit. We're at 17.74 million credit. Okay, and what's the net here? Well, $17 million credit minus a 14,766 debit leaves us with a credit of 2,974 credit. So you can see it got worse, as you might expect. Let's add up all these other ones, and we're going to be left with a blank in the journal entry. We're sort of looking to fill in this blank, but let's add up our pension expense. So debit of 1050 plus a debit of 840 minus a credit of 748 plus a debit of 150. I end up at 1292 as my pension expense. And of course, a debit is what we expect to see there most often. The plan amendment, $1.8 million debit, minus 65K credit, or 68K credit, minus 150K credit. We end up at 1582 debit here. Well, this one's easy. 1.3 million debit. I think I added one too many zero, or credit. Jeepers, I keep saying the wrong thing. I think you got the idea though. So, okay, I'm missing a big credit. I got to credit this for some amount. Now, I can look here and just go, oh, I'm going to credit it for like 1574. I can see that, right? To go from 14 to 2.9 million, but it should work both ways. In fact, it must work both ways. If it doesn't work both ways, we screwed something up. So 1292 debit plus 1582 debit minus 1300 credit. It is 1574. That's exactly what I thought it would be. The birds are singing, the sun is shining, and yeah, our worksheet is working. Now, not a guarantee we got it right, but definitely a good sign. Let's do the journal entry, and the journal entry is just right there, the bottom line here. So let's go ahead and do that journal entry. It's a little trickier when you have multiple OCIs. I forgot to mention this OCI is like the OCI gain, right? Our unexpected gain, where we had 816 actual return. We expect to have 748. The other one is related to past service cost, prior service cost, and we'll deal with that in due time. But let's start with our pension expense. Debit. Pension expense. And the amount is $12.92. Okay, dealing with OCI, you got to split it into two pieces. We have a $68,000 unexpected gain. So I'm going to credit OCI, I'll just say gain, and it was 68K. Now we also have a debit to OCI for the past service cost, and the net amount, 1.8 million minus the 150 grand in amortization. It's 1650. Next, we got a credit to cash of 1.3 million. And last but not least, a credit to our net pension liability for 1574. This is dated, what is it dated? December 31st. 2031. Okay, I think we've got ourselves a beautiful entry. I think that's the US GAAP side of the problem done. I think you like and subscribe and you say goodbye, you US GAPers, you IFRSers or Canadian ASPE folks. Stay with me. Let's do the IFRS way. I'm just going to edit right on the US GAAP sheet. So we're just going to continue on from there. And there's two things that US GAAP does differently. It's all related to OCI. This whole OCI column is about to blow up. And it's going to change our pension expense. All this stuff over here remains the same under whatever method. So let's go ahead and deal with it. So the big first difference is this past service cost. The past service cost under IFRS isn't in OCI. It just goes into the expense. 1.8 million debit goes over here. As a consequence, there's no amortization of a past service cost from OCI into the expense. It's already in the expense. So that line just disappears. The other thing that's done differently is, as we mentioned, US GAAP uses expected return on long-term assets. IFRS says, don't use 5.5%, just use the discount rate to do your expected return. Other than that, it's the same. So use the discount rate, 13.6 mil, times 0.05, the discount rate, and the IFRS expected return is 680K, and then we just treat it the same as the US GAAP did. So we go, okay, it's 680K. Actually, let's leave the US GAAP number there. I'm going to cross it out. 680K goes in here, and so 680K credit was our expected return. Our actual return was 816, so we have a bigger gain. Right? We have a bigger, I forget the name, I always forget this, the wording, remeasurement gain. So our remeasurement gain under IFRS is 816 minus 680. It's 136. That's it. So those are the differences. Everything else is the same. Let's add up those green lines that have now changed. All other lines should remain the same. Let's crunch the numbers. 1.8 million under pension expense debit plus 1050 debit plus 840 debit minus 680, our expected IFRS return, and we get 3010 debit, 3010K, and it is a debit. So much larger pension expense, but that's expected because we took the whole plan amendment at once into pension expense. The OCI, much easier. It's just the remeasurement gain, 136K, and this, of course, is a credit. So a little bit different, right? It's a credit there. There's a debit total under US GAAP. Everything else is the same. And you'll note it's going to work, right? If I go, let's add up our debits, deduct out our credits. 3010 debit minus 136 credit minus 1.3 million credit minus 1574 credit, and we end at zero, right? Because the journal entry is going to balance here. So what does it look like in terms of an entry? Debit pension expense. US GAAP or IFRS says 3010. Debit or credit OCI for 136 for our OCI gain, remeasurement gain. Get rid of this debit to OCI under PSE, and that's it. Everything else is the same. Okay, last. So that's it for you IFRSers. Goodbye. Hit the thumb. Last one, Canadian ASPE. My fellow Canadians, we've got it easy. If you've sung in this far, the Canadian ASPE is dead simple. Everything's the same as IFRS. The only difference is there's no such thing as OCI. So this OCI number gets lumped in there. So we just go, oh, it was 816 debit. Well, our gain or our return on assets has got to be 816 credit. Everything else is the same. So this goes away, and this is, well, what's 3010 plus 816, 3826 debit, and that's what the Canadian ASPE would say. So in terms of a journal entry, we get rid of the OCI gain, the pension expense for Canadian ASPE, 3826, and you're done. Now, you can really smash that button because we've solved it 3 ways, but obviously only one way likely mattered to you. And there you go. We've done it the ASPE way. As always, thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Bye for now. The next video in our series is right up here. And if you want a supercut of all of the videos in this series, that's the one down below.